I want to play one more Manchin clip because this one, let's just play it.
The child tax credit. Are you a hard no on ensuring that supporting the
child tax credit is still there, as I'm understanding. Basically,
yeah, are you a hard no on ensuring that families with no income tax obligations get the expanded credit? Are you a hard no on that, Senator Manchin?
I've been basically very clear on that. I think there should be a work requirement, and that means you file a 1099. So a 1099, if you're going to call it a credit, you have to see if you have a liability or not. The only way the IRS would know that is you file a 1099. So I've been very direct on that.
I wanted to, first of all, the media only reports on the child tax credit. Oh, what a great thing. They don't really care to dive into why do we have such child poverty? I mean, that's the deeper problem, would you say? Maybe instead of a child tax credit, which is a neoliberal. I mean, it's good, it's helpful, but maybe we should try and, structurally change things.
Causes?
Address the root causes. Why we need to cut poverty in half. Why do we have such poverty? But putting that aside, I found it really grand, him talking about, 1099s and requirements, this and that. It just came out recently, Colin, if you have it. Mr. Manchin, his brother, just sued Joe Manchin for over $1.7 million for not paying back loans. U.S. Senator Joe Manchin's brother has sued Senator Manchin and another brother for over $1.7 million that allegedly was loaned to keep a family business afloat decades ago. According to the lawsuit, Joe and Roach Manchin requested the money in the 1980s from their brother in response to Manchin Carpet Center's distressed financial condition. John Manchin loaned them more than $1.7 million, all of which was provided to the business's primary creditor, Community Bank and Trust. According to the lawsuit, Joe and Roach Manchin promised to repay the brother on repeated occasions, most recently in July 2012, according to the lawsuit. So Mr. Manchin wants to lecture, parents and others on work requirements, yet, according to a lawsuit, he owes nearly $2 million to his own blood.
I mean, the guy is a grade A scumbag. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, that's like gotcha politics. I mean, yeah, it sucks. And yes, he's a parasite. And yes, he's a leech and all the other things that go with that. But the fact is that his personal stuff aside, we have people that are literally trying to take care of children who are without family support. They don't have a brother loaning them $1.7 million. They don't have anything like that. They don't even have somebody that could give them a couch to sleep on in some cases.
Right.
And they're expected to somehow or another get off their ass and buff my calluses or shine my shoes to earn your child tax credit and get your 1099. I mean, this is beyond privilege.
It's the economic Hunger Games. It's the economic Hunger Games.
It's Squid Games, man. It is Squid Games. Let's go Squid, because Squid is so much more like, I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, but my God, disaster capitalism special, isn't it? I mean, it's just awful.
Well, I also think, we also should mention that his daughter famously, what was it, Mylan? She was the CEO, price gouged EpiPens, saw no jail time. That's a whole nother story. So I'm not picking particularly on Manchin because Manchin is so much more egregious than everybody else in the Democratic and Republican Party. He's just the one just out in front, with dropping the shield. So it's just mind numbing. It's just mind numbing that someone who has had every entitlement, he came from a family political dynasty in West Virginia, apparently gets loans just to, get his business off the ground, whatever, a dry cleaning or whatever that was.
Carpet.
I was in West Virginia reporting last year. Apparently his daughter, he kind of bought his daughter a degree. She didn't even finish. And then his daughter becomes CEO of a pharmaceutical company and just disgustingly is price gouging EpiPens, which people need to survive, diabetics and what have you. And he's lecturing people on work requirements. And by the way, it's not just him. There are other Democrats who are not as loud about it that feel the same way. And Joe Manchin is just taking the arrows. So, this neoliberal / right wing notion that we can't give things for free. Well, should we give work requirements to the Pentagon then? Should we give work requirements to the banks that they bailed out with no issue? To the fossil fuel companies that get the subsidies? It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
It is. It is. I mean, I wish that we could somehow or another pull away from the gotcha politics, if you will, because what ends up happening is the sword you use to stab them ends up coming back to stab you, right? And that's what the Democrats always do. Always, by the way, not sometimes, always do when they start talking about deficit reduction and things like that. Because the Republicans, they never have that kind of guilt when they're in power. They're always like slashing taxes on the rich, and they're always cutting expenses on the poor. And so why we would sit there and allow that to happen is infuriating, but this is their game. And quite frankly, it's the gotcha politics. They think, oh, look, he's a hypocrite. See what he did. And yes, it feels good. But at the same time, though, it just perpetuates it, when reality is that this is all bullshit. It doesn't have to be that way. And if we as, progressives, and if the Democratic Party ever had any intention of not being the Republican Party of the 70s, then maybe we could get somewhere, but they don't. They are the Republicans. And I don't know who the Republicans have become. They become something out of some sort of a horror novel, but they're both in cahoots. They're both literally the difference between what A says and B says is A is so much more palatable compared to B. B is just awful. So if you choose B, it's like the decision between taking your heart out with a spoon or whether cutting your hand off. You're going to cut your hand off. You're not going to cut your heart out with a spoon. So, okay. So now I'm walking around without a hand, but damn it, it felt good because I picked the lesser of two evils. And that's what keeps happening. They're not really in any way, shape, or form informing one another. They're not actually speaking truth. They're literally playing a game, and that game is going to cost lives. And it's shameful. It's shameful.